Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, The Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have an Armored Warfare replay, PvE Hardcore Operation Kodiak, and I'm featuring myself in the Zhalo. Now I'm going to let the introduction go here a little bit, so I'm not trying to talk over it, and I'm going to give you some history and more or less development of this prototype Soviet vehicle. You can see I'm trying to move in position. The two S-14 Zhalo S, loosely translates as Steiner S, is an experimental lightweight gun platform designed by the Soviet Union in the 1970s. At the time, the Soviets were working on a new generation of anti-tank guns. This would include the 85mm gun mounted on the Zhalo S. The plan was to mount the light anti-tank guns on lightweight vehicles to achieve a cheap yet effective tank destroyer. A tow version of the 85mm was also planned as well. The basis of the gun was not to achieve to kill with a large caliber, in the case of like the 120mm main gun, but instead with a high velocity round. The US would actually try to attempt something similar to this with the 75mm hypervelocity gun that they would actually mount on the RDF LT. However, the RDF LT in game actually has the 76mm gun, but I do take some notations over that about the 75mm gun in my video on the RDF LT.
Target locked on.
The first prototype mounting the new 2A62 85mm gun was a BTR-70. What you actually see here would be known as the Zhalo S. It was what it took is it took the standard BTR-70 model and a all-welded steel turret that was designed and the gun would be mounted into, and then it would be mounted onto the BTR-70. Also, an autoloader system was placed inside the turret to reload the 85mm gun. The new prototype gun system was ready in 1975 and was sent to the proving grounds at Kubenka for testing. The 85mm gun was found to be effective against lightweight vehicles as well as older tanks, but it was found to be insufficient against modern main battle tanks because it lacked the necessary punch. This would ultimately doom the project, and the project would ultimately be canceled. The only prototype of the vehicle now sits at Kubenka Tank Museum, and actually for the longest time it just sat out in their tank yard. However, I did find some photographs of it. They actually do have it restored and sitting inside the museum now.
Good work.
Now that being said, I'm not really going to cover the BTR-70.
Identify target.
The only thing I can really tell you off the top of my head is it is a vehicle of an 8x8 design. It mounts a diesel engine which is mounted in the rear, and it is made of an all-steel construction. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe recalling information about the vehicle actually being amphibious. Besides that, I really don't know any additional information about the BTR-80 off the top of my head. Mostly because I didn't think I was really going to have much time to cover the BTR-80. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk a little bit about the vehicle in Armored Warfare itself and give you my opinion about it. Now, there is two different variants of the Zhalo S in Armored Warfare. One is just a standard premium version, no camouflage, no nothing. And there's also a mercenary version, which has a higher camo because the mercenary paint job is considered camo in all environments. Now, it does have an 85mm gun. I find the 85mm gun to be pretty effective, and I pretty much loaded nothing but heat because at this tier, the heat generally is pretty damn effective. And I did notice that the velocity of the rounds, even though I'm firing heat, is really superb. and it penetrates most of the time. Although it does also have a very good sabot round that pretty much will penetrate every time. That being said, the heat round does a little bit more damage. So you opt for more damage over slightly less reliable penetration. Now, generally what you're seeing me do is sitting in the back and using this vehicle as a TD. And that's actually how it's meant to be used. It's not meant to be up front, used as a main battle tank. It's not a scout vehicle. Actually, it's not a very nimble vehicle at all. And it's actually really hard to get this thing to accelerate. However, once you get it up to top speed, it does move actually at a pretty good clip. So, kind of hard to accelerate, but it's got it where it counts once you get the thing open throttled. Other than that, it is actually a decent vehicle. I rather like it, even though it's only a Tier 4 premium. It's more or less a collector's item, though. There's a wide variety of better options of premium vehicles in Armored Warfare, especially at Tier 4, but I'm even looking outside the Tier 4 vehicles that is out there. Now, for its tier, it's pretty good. That being said, I actually like the LAV 150-90 better as a premium. It's a bit more nimble and it maneuvers a lot better. However, this vehicle here, the Zhalo, actually has a slightly lower silhouette, but it is also quite longer. Now, the armor, it's nothing to talk about. It's a BTR-70. Good versus machine guns, practically worthless against anything bigger than a 50 cal. And that's just how it is. Now, it doesn't carry any infantry, even though the BTR-70 itself does carry infantry. I suspect the stipulation is when the vehicle was designed for the turret, they essentially, the turret took up, well, the turret and the ammunition took up the space that would be normally taken up by the crew itself, or by the passengers of the vehicle, the infantry, if you will. It also does have a coaxial machine gun. The coaxial is a 7.62. So nothing huge. It's not a 50 cal, even though there is some vehicles that does mount 50 cal coaxial, as well as some vehicles even have up to 14.5 millimeter machine guns. So we're about ready to wrap up the match here. Just going to take some pot shots. And there's actually the final kill and the victory. So total said and done, I would destroy 7 enemy vehicles in spot 2. This is not a spotting vehicle, mind you. So wasn't so worried about spotting. And I would do just a little over 8,000 damage. Nothing to write home to mom about. Definitely not the best game I've ever had in the Zhalo. But it worked out in the end. I would be number 2 for damage. And actually, I wouldn't even be dead last for spotting, even though I wasn't trying to spot at all. Anyway, folks, that is my replay featuring the Zhalo S. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for tuning in. And have yourself a great day.